past 10 years, I've coached thousands of men to get lean, ripped, which improves their energy, their confidence, and overall quality of life and well-being. Today's video, I'm gonna teach you guys my TFB, which is my travel fitness blueprint. What are the hacks that I myself use to stay ripped and lean, traveling to multiple different cities a year, and the things that I give to my clients to help them as well. If you guys stick around to the end, I'm gonna load you up with some resources, completely free gifts to help you along your journey so that you can continue to build towards becoming the best version of yourself. But first and foremost, why is the TFB? Why is the travel fitness blueprint even a thing? It's something I had to develop for myself, actually. So for you guys that don't know, I am an online fitness coach full-time. That's all I do, right? And I run my business completely remote. I could travel and work wherever I want. So I'll take you guys back to when this transition happened. I used to be a personal trainer in gyms back before 2020. But when 2020 lockdown went down, I had to take my entire business online. So what ended up happening is it starts to catapult to basically this is my full-time gig. 2021 starts and I have travel opportunities that line up, things for business, me doing like photo shoots and collabs with other creators, with some of my clients, interviewing them, just doing multiple business endeavors. And so the year 2021, I actually had to travel every single month for a new project. I went from pretty much not traveling at all to traveling once every month. And I remember that year, I actually went to 11 different cities in that year alone. In most cases, people would say, oh man, you traveling, right? Things are different every single week. It's gonna be difficult to stay consistent and you're gonna get fat, right? That's actually bullshit. For me, I got more lean. I got more ripped because of the things that I'm about to teach you guys with the travel fitness blueprint. So essentially, most of you guys who are traveling, you're not gonna be able to stay consistent with your calories, which is 80% of what's actually gonna cause the physical change with your fitness results. And your disrupted routine is gonna make it difficult to work out, difficult to recover. And you're sort of telling yourself or giving yourself that excuse, oh man, I'm gonna get back on track when I get home. But the more and more you make the excuses, the better and better you become at excuse making, which means that a lot of the times you either never start or you're in this constant boom bust cycle. Let's fix that shit. So I think when it comes to travel, before you create a plan for yourself, you have to look at what level of difficulty the travel adherence is going to demand. So there's 3 levels that I like to look at. All right, so our 3 levels look like this. Level 1 is easy. If you're traveling anywhere in the US, the reason this is easy is because most places in the US, there's gonna be a gym you can find. There's also gonna be a supplement store, and you'll see why this is important here in a minute. The other thing is there's another hack that I'll teach you guys more about, and that's if you're going to a big city, you can use meal prep companies as a resource. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. I think level 2, we'll call it like moderate level of difficulty. This is like you're traveling somewhere in North America. Mexico and Canada, depending on what parts would fit in this bracket, because while there is a lot of the same access in those places, gyms, some supplement stores, you might not be able to find a meal prep company. This might not be accessible, right? So that creates another barrier of adherence to nutrition. We'll talk about some practical strategies for that. But obviously, the most challenging, the hardest would be international travel. This is where you gotta get really creative. So we're talking like you going to motherfucking Bali, you going to Africa, you going to Japan. You might not have a gym or a supplement store or meal prep. Like we might have to basically bare bones this out, but that's not to say you can't come up with a plan. I'm gonna give you guys some practical strategies for each level. So the first thing you need to be focused on when you're thinking about where you're gonna travel is obviously getting the nutrition right. Nutrition is 80% of the battle when it comes to staying fit, staying healthy, staying on track towards your goals, no matter where you're at in the world. Assessing the nutrition really boils down to 1, you gotta know your own individual macros. If you don't know your macros, I'll attach a resource in the description for free for you guys to go find your own personal macros, go check that out. But let's just assume you already know what your macro goals are. I'm gonna just say, if you're me, 180 grams of protein is the goal. So So now it's like, where is my 180 grams of protein for this trip? You need protein for 2 reasons: muscle growth, muscle retention, and also fat loss for more satiety and building your metabolic rate so that you burn more calories at rest, right? So we know that. Now it's a game of how do I get this protein goal in for the day? What I follow a lot of the times when I travel, just to make it simple, is something called the divide the day method. This is basically where for the day, you figure out, all right, based off my travel schedule or based off what I have planned for the day, how many times am I actually gonna eat? And so based off that, that's where you create the goal for each time you eat. Let me show you guys an example. All right, so let's say you need to get 180 grams of protein like me for the day. There's a couple different ways you can look at this. You can look at it as, okay, I'm only gonna eat 2 meals today because of my schedule. Well, what does that mean? It means you gotta get 90 grams of protein each meal. Pretty big meals, and I'll show you guys some examples of how to do that here in a sec. You also could look at 3 meals, right, that you might get depending on, the travel and everything. And this would just mean that you need to get 60 grams of protein each meal. So now the game is getting 60 grams of pop. And if you got a little bit more time to eat, I think this is the most that a person that's gonna be traveling a lot will probably eat, and that is 45 grams of protein if you're on a 4-meal schedule each meal. And so now it's just a game of this, right? So a good way to look at it is like, let's say you can handle this amount, right? Some people, just have a thing with 3 meals a day, right? Because that's kind of just modern society. A good example of this would be, let's say you have a breakfast, and at breakfast, if you did 6 eggs, right, whole eggs with the yolk, plus some Greek yogurt, maybe a few servings of that, a few ounces of that, that by itself could be 60 grams of protein. So now, if you're looking at lunch could be an 8-ounce serving of chicken breast, right? CB, not Chris Brown. And you get a protein shake that's about maybe a good 30-40 grams of protein roughly. This could be 60 grams of protein right here. That means that the dinner is now that much easier because of it. You get like 10 ounces of steak here, right? Maybe you get like a New York strip or something like that. This could easily be another 60 grams. And so on a travel schedule, this would be a good example of how I would build all my meals. Really hyper focusing on the protein before I even get to my carbs and fats. Now, some of my fats are here, right? So you're gonna get some in the steak, you're gonna get some in the eggs, obviously, but I've essentially made it to where there's no way possible I don't hit my 180. And then obviously you can mix and match and combine some of these options, if you're going less meals, right? It can be literally the same foods, you just combine them together, or break this up a little bit into smaller portions if you wanna do the 4-meal option. The next thing is like taking those, tracking them into some type of like fitness tracker. Now personally, I use my fitness tracker, the Corey Armstrong fitness app that, me and my clients use for my custom program, but you guys can use pretty much anything nowadays from MyFitnessPal to Chronometer, Lose It app. There's a bunch of different apps, you can find one. There's really 3 levels of accurate tracking measures. So you have the precision method, which is being as precise and as accurate as possible. This would be if you want to be a dork like me and carry a portable food scale. I literally take this to restaurants with me and I place it underneath a plate, and then I just zero it out and then take the things off that I want to weigh. That gives me a lot of peace of mind and clarity that, hey, I'm really on track towards my protein targets, my macro targets, because I'm getting the exact number. But that's like the highest level of precision. I think the next level of precision from that would be something called the portion method. The portion method is simple. Take your palm. If you're looking at the palm of your hand, for most guys, your palm is representative of about 4 to maybe 6 ounces, depending on the size of your palm. When you're looking at protein portions and you put your palm over it, that's about 4 ounces if your entire palm is covered by it. So you're just looking to measure it based off the portion of your hand. The last and probably least accurate, but a good way to just make sure you're staying on track when you're traveling is the previous entries method. So maybe you have weighed out a certain food portion at home and you can see like, oh, you know, relative to what I normally eat, my chicken breast 4 ounces, this chicken breast that I'm eating at this restaurant looks close to what I normally do. So I'll just use a previous entry and just log that as this is what I'm eating today. Because at the end of the day, guys, you don't want to get hyper fixated being 100% accurate on tracking your macros, because you'll never be 100% accurate. You'll fucking rack your brain trying to be that. So just attempt to get as close as possible. That's the key thing here. The next thing that really helps me when traveling is something I call the PUP method. This is the pull up with protein method. This is where you come ready with protein, either traveling in like a small bag with pre-mixed protein shakes, protein bars. You know, maybe you can fit some Greek yogurt or even some deli meat, right? You can take that with you. Having protein ready in different avenues or in different endeavors and different events, a lot of the times can make it that much easier to hit your protein goals. Another thing is something I call the FUF method. This is the fast until the feast method. It's one of my favorite things to do when I'm traveling. A lot of the times, if I got like a morning flight or early afternoon flight, it just makes sense to just fast through that time. Say no to the motherfucking stewardess when they come up to you and they ask you, do you want the snacks, right? Do you want this? Nah, man, I'm fasting right now. One of the easiest ways to just kind of get through that flight and get through that sort of stress of having to make stuff fit your macros is just wait till you get to your destination where you have a little bit more control. You know, skip out on the airport lounge food or, you know, the different restaurants that are in the airport, and just bring maybe some electrolyte powder. I like to have like a little packet of LMNT powder on me, and I just throw that in some water and maybe drink some caffeine. A lot of the times it's just that much easier to just wait till I get to my destination to break my fast. Really good if you're on a fat loss journey too, because what you're doing is you're condensing the amount of time that you're eating into a smaller window. Again, makes it less likely that you'll overconsume. Another thing that I think could be really beneficial to a lot of people, only getting pre-packaged carbs when you're on the go. One of the sneakiest macros is carbohydrates, man. If you get carbs from like, let's say you go somewhere and you order like a bowl, them carbs is mixed together. It feels almost impossible to track. Instead, what I'll do is I'll only get a double protein entree, and then I'll get pre-packaged carbs that I eat either with that meal or later. So for example, I might pick up some rice cakes, pick up, you know, some fruits like an apple or a banana, some granola bites or bars, or even a cup of minute rice or a cup of oatmeal. It's all controlled, and I can just scan the barcode easily on my meal tracker app, and the macros just fill in on their own, so I don't have to like measure or weigh out anything. I was sharing with some clients the other day how I went to a burger place right at the airport because I had a layover, and I just got 2 grilled chicken sandwiches. I threw away the bun and I bought a granola bar from a kiosk. And I did that specifically because I didn't really know the true macros of the bun, because when somebody makes a bun, they'll put butter on it or something like that, then they'll fry it. You make it really difficult to account for the butter, plus whatever brand of bun, you don't know what brand they use, right? Why guess when I can throw that bun away, right, and just get a controlled portion of carbs that I can easily measure and track. I would say there's a couple essentials too if you have access to a supplement store. One is get you some electrolytes if you can, especially if you're doing the fast until the feast method. 2, if you can get like a little pre-workout sampler. And 3, pre-mixed protein shakes are always good to have on the go. And that pretty much ties a bow on most of the nutritional stuff. Now let's get to the actual fitness stuff. What do you need to do if you're at a hotel gym, right? Maybe the gym doesn't have everything that you would normally want. What should your workout look like? Let me show you guys an example. All right, so this is our hotel gym workout, man. When you're looking at like working out at a hotel, man, you're looking for maintenance, not progression. And so I think a nice full body workout is sufficient no matter what your goals are, right? So I would say maybe start with some form of squats, maybe like I like a good goblet squat, because most gyms, hotel gyms have dumbbells. And so maybe you go with like 4 sets of 15. And then maybe you transition from that into some rows. Then we go bench press, then maybe wrap up with some shoulder press. You can just do some planks for your abs. All of these pretty much can go 4 sets of 15. And then for your planks, maybe you do like 60 to 90 second holds. Reason why I like this particular workout structure is because no matter what, you can knock this out in anywhere from like 30 to 45 minutes, unless you're just really in there bullshitting. And the cool thing is, like, let's say you have less than 30 minutes, right? All you really have to do is turn this into a circuit where you don't take rest periods. So like you hit, boom, your goblet squats, go right into your rows, go right into your bench press, go right into your shoulder press, and then go right into your plank. And then that's like 1 set. And then you rest for 90 seconds. So if you really out here crunch for time, you might be able to knock this shit out in 15 to 25 minutes. You got more time. What you could do, let's say you're in that like 60 to 90 minute bracket, like you wanna get the most out of your workout. Well, you actually keep your rest periods, but then what you do is you add some arm work and then maybe like more ab stuff. Maybe you work on your calves or something. Right, you getting ready for short season. Calves is with a V, but fuck it, man, y'all get the point. So this is, to me, I think the perfect full body gym workout. Now, some of you guys are gonna look at this and you're gonna say, man, what if I don't have a gym? Well, the same rules apply. Let me erase this real quick. You still essentially do full body. You hit these same muscle groups, but you just change the cadence. So maybe this ends up being just like body weight squats, and then maybe you go to some lunges. Then maybe here you're doing some push-ups. I like pause push-ups because most men can do 15 push-ups pretty easily. So like pause push-ups, that'll be a nice challenge. Then maybe you do like some cobras, right? That's for your back. And then again with those planks. Now obviously if it's just body weight, you're not gonna have any instruments to do your arms and, you know, maybe even additional ab focus, but you can for sure do all of these with just your body weight, right? And again, if you guys need help putting something like this together for your specific travel and schedule, you can go ahead and apply for a one-on-one consultation in the description. We'll see if me and my team can help you with something like that. Now, if you are traveling in the US or even in that tier 2, right, you're traveling in the North America region, sometimes you can just go to a local gym. A lot of the times what I'll do is if I'm in a new city, before I get there, I'll put in the address of where I'm going and then Google search gyms nearby, right? Or when I get there, gyms near me. Most of the gyms nowadays, you can buy like a day pass for like anywhere from 15 to maybe even 30 bucks depending on the chain. Or if you got an international gym membership like I do, I have a LA Fitness membership as well as a Lifetime Fitness membership. I can go to any location in any city. So that's another thing you want to consider when you're picking gyms is like, all right, if I'm going to travel a lot, do I have the international or the national package where I can go to multiple gyms? I would also add that like if you're traveling, most of the time, the late night gym sessions are probably not gonna happen. If it's a leisure trip, for sure. If it's a business trip, it makes it that much more difficult to get that gym session in if you're waiting until later in the day. So I would say make the morning workouts a non-negotiable. Get your ass up at maybe 6:30, you know, knock out your workout right then and there, maybe 7 o'clock, 7:30 at the latest, so that by 8, you're already attacking the day and you've got the hardest part of the day out the way. That's the TFB in a nutshell. I think what we're really talking about here, guys, is moving away from the mindset that you're on a diet and starting to create that standard that this is a lifestyle for you. Every time you are in a new city or in a different environment, it's not about if these things are gonna happen, it's about how are you gonna make them happen. Right? Because all the limitations that you think you have, somebody out here is making this shit happen regardless of their circumstances. So that means if you just shift your focus onto the things that you can do that shit as well, right? Hopefully this was helpful. If you need more help with your specific goals, go ahead, grab one of our free resources in the description, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.